Hey again, this is Adam from the Night Vision Music Academy. Today we're going to be going over Reverb. So to do that, I've got FabFilter's Pro R, which is just an awesome plugin, and it quickly became my favorite Reverb plugin. So we're going to be talking about Reverb and using this plugin to kind of get into a lot of stuff that's universal throughout all Reverb plugins. So I wrote this track about an hour ago. I'm going to show you what it sounds like. Nice, we got that big, juicy reverb tail on the end, which is awesome. So reverb is, of course, short for reverberation. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Anytime you are anywhere and produce sound, that sound will bounce off all the other things in that space and come back and hit your ear at slightly different times with maybe some new character picked up by the material it bounced off of. So what we're doing with a plugin is emulating a specific space. That could be a very small room, it could be a club, it could be a huge concert hall, or a church for some reason is a pretty common thread. So when talking about reverb, think of it as a big dose of context for whatever you're doing. So this song, I feel like it's kind of epic, big crazy synth leads. So I'd imagine some kind of big open space to play it in, and I'm probably going to inject a lot of reverb in the track to imply that to the listener, because without the reverb, it doesn't really sound like it's anywhere. And I'll hit play right now and turn off the reverb so you can hear what that's like. Here it is. And it's gone. So the first control that's going to be useful is space. This, on the Pro R, controls the size of the room that we're building, and of course, that's related to how long the reverb lasts, how big it feels. So you'll see there's time in seconds, and I can play with this knob. We can make the room really small. And I can increase it. The room's getting a little bigger, and now I'll leave it play while I slowly turn up. So we can go from a tiny little closet to a place bigger than you've ever been before. And this is really cool because you can use a mixture of this in your track, maybe a room reverb to gel different sounds together, or a big long reverb for transitions, and they can all kind of stem from a similar thing, shaped in a similar way to feel like it's all still one song. So the space knob, awesome, first one I go to, and then next is the decay rate. So this is just a percentage dial, which will affect this number in here, meaning that we can still maintain a somewhat large room, like this is a pretty big room, and maybe just dial in how long the actual reverb lasts. There, so it doesn't get too muddy or too convoluted. That was a really bad reverb joke. I won't bother explaining it. Okay. Next up, stereo width. This is going to introduce differences between the left and right sides. That means it'll feel wide or kind of dead center, really narrow mono. So I'm going to keep it like this, and we're going to go over here. I'm going to put it right in the middle. So it feels kind of vintage, kind of cool. And as we increase this, we will get differences between the left and right signal, and it will feel wide, which is great. So this can help make something feel wide, even say if it's a mono instrument or signal. So that's kind of cool. Next up is mix. And of course it's at 100% because I have this on a return track. If it were on a specific channel, then you could dial it in to taste. Moving over to the left, we have brightness, and that controls the high reflections and their relationship in the reverb. So it's fairly natural in most rooms that the higher frequency sounds will get diminished more quickly. So you'll see that with a lot of reverbs, there's something either embedded in them or some kind of cut where it cuts away the high end. So this is a really cool one. We can make it really moody by having it really dark over here. Or we can have it really bright and kind of sparkly up here. I'm going to opt for something more in the middle. Nice. Next up is character. So as we go from clean to lively to chorus, we're going to introduce modulation in the sound. So frequencies will change a little bit, get a little wonky, and it's pretty cool. So here's what it sounds like normally. Listen carefully in the tail. If I crank this up, you can hear it almost vibrate a little. It goes whoa, 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 which is pretty cool. So we get a kind of detune modulation effect. Here we have distance. It's exactly what it sounds like. We can place it really far away for something more epic or dramatic, or we can make it more intimate and put it right up front, more immediate. So that does it for the top row. Moving down to the bottom, the main thing I care about here is pre-delay. So again, pre-delay is something that occurs naturally. It of course takes time for sound to leave its source, bounce around some things, come back to our ear. So I always like to have a little bit of pre-delay and dial it in so that I can make sure I can hear the original sound and then the reverb with a little bit of separation so it doesn't get muddy. Or you can do something kind of crazier. So this is what I would say in the natural realm. If I crank this up, we get a slapback effect where it's like sound reverb, but it's very cool. And something over here is probably a little more natural. Now on to the two big beautiful curves we've been ignoring. We have the decay rate EQ, and this is very cool and fairly unique to this plugin. And what it allows us to do is control the decay rate, again, this up here, how long the reverb lasts, for individual frequency bands. So what you can see is here I have everything kind of below 123, pretty slow shelf. That's going to be cut a bit, so it's not going to last quite as long. Whereas right over here, I really like the bottom of that stab, and so that's I'm going to have it last a little bit longer. Same with whatever's over here, and maybe some boost in the high. It's very cool. So you can hear, this is what it sounds like now. If I crank this up, you can hear that high end, those sparkly bits, they last much longer. So you can really shape what you like. You can also go in and do like kind of crazy comb filtery curves and different stuff to bring out a different character of whatever you're throwing at the reverb. So it's very, very cool. And also, of course, you know, it looks really nice. Sweet. So it's worth just experimenting. And the yellow curve, that's a pretty standard EQ at the very end of our chain. Works just like FabFilter Pro Q, which is awesome. And here you can see I have it a high cut on, a low cut, and little boost dips just to kind of show you what's going on. I like it about there. That pretty much does it for Reverb and FabFilter Pro R. Thank you for listening. I know this was a long one. Remember that if you're an MVMA student, you actually get 50% off of all of FabFilter's plugins. They are amazing. I use them all the time. Saturn, distortion, saturation is awesome. And the Pro C2 and Pro Q2 EQ and compressor. And now the Pro R is like my absolute favorite reverb. So if you're interested in that, check out our website, nightvisionmusic.academy, and you can take a look at all our different courses. Thanks.